Hello everybody, welcome back to the Horror Vault. Today I'm going to do a tag video, and this is the Werewolf tag that was started by the YouTuber KweenyTodd, which I'll leave a link down below, along with a load of people I'll be tagging at the end of this video. But let's crack on. There's a few questions, quite good questions, and I'm sure there'll be a lot of questions and answers that you would have yourself for this. So this is the Werewolf tag. Question 1 is, what is your favourite werewolf film and why? I'd imagine a lot of people are going to pick this one. For me, it's American Werewolf in London from 1981, directed by John Landis. Great special effects by Rick Baker. Very good acting. It's got Jenny Agutter in it, so that's another plus. And it's a good mixture of horror and comedy. I just really like it. It's just, if you haven't seen it, go watch it. I'd be very surprised if you haven't watched it, but if you haven't seen that werewolf film, that's a strong recommend from me. Question 2 is, are werewolves better than vampires? It depends how you look at it, I suppose, because you got a vampire that obviously drinks blood, can't go out in daylight, depending on what type of vampire they are, I suppose, but go the standard way that can't go out in sunlight, afraid of the cross, don't like garlic, holy war, and all that kind of stuff. Can't go into sunlight even, and go out in the dark, can't go in sunlight. So for the vampire, that's a downside. And then you got the thing of, if they change all the human beings into vampires, then they have no more blood to drink. So it's a bit of a downside for them. So there's that. Then there's being a werewolf, which, to be fair, you only turn into werewolf once a month when there's a full moon. You just got to go out and buy some new clothes every now and again. Plenty of things to go out and eat if you're that hungry, so it's not really that bad as long as you can try and control the animal urges inside you and stick to eating animals, I suppose, and not going around eating people, because that would be a bad thing. But for me, it would be better being a werewolf than it would be a vampire. A vampire has some good points, but there's a lot of down points to it as well. So for me, it's definitely being a werewolf. Question 3 is, name the most brutal scene you've watched in a werewolf film. I did think about this for a while, and the first thing that popped in my head, and it's the one I'm going to go with, is from Dog Soldiers from 2002, directed by Neil Marshall. I believe it's Sean Pertwee's character. I could be wrong, but I'm sure it's Sean Pertwee's character that gets clawed across the sort of abdomen area here, and then his intestines spill out, and they're trying to push all his intestines back in, and they use duct tape, and then a dog comes along and starts playing tug of war with Sean Pertwee with his intestines. I just think it's a funny moment, and it's one of them. It's brutal, but it's kind of funny at the same time. Of course, there's other brutal scenes from horror films, werewolf films. The Howling's got quite a few across the whole The Howling series, not just the first one. But for me, it was that scene in Dog Soldiers. I just think it's a mixture of good humour, dark humour, and a bit of brutality as well. And Sean Pertwee is a great character as well, though he should probably stop starring in Neil Marshall films, because he seems to die in every single Neil Marshall film he's in. But there we go. Question 4 is, what's the best werewolf transformation you've seen? Hands down, American Werewolf in London. Rick Baker, special effects. Quite simply. Not much more to say, really. That is the best werewolf transformation in a film. I mean, depends on what you prefer. For the old school sort of way, you know, they disappear off screen and then they come back as the werewolf, or as the, you know, seeing it change as you do, like in American Werewolf in London, where you see the transformation happen, especially the bit with his hand, and he's in the same shot as the actor, and you see it stretching out and the claws coming out. Good scene. I would say Paul Naschy in a lot of his European horror films, where he played Vladimir Daninsky. Good transformation scenes for him in a lot of those films as well. So, but for me, yeah, it's definitely American Werewolf in London. That's definitely got the best werewolf transformation scene. What is the silliest, worst werewolf film you've seen? This is question 5. And what's the silliest, worst werewolf film you've seen? For me, American Werewolf in Paris. Yep, there was a sequel to American Werewolf in London, but it came in 1997, several years later. It's got some elements to it that's okay, but the werewolves are not a patch on the original film. You watch the great special effects by Rick Baker in American Werewolf in London, and then you watch these terrible looking CGI werewolves in the Paris film, and those ones have dated really badly as opposed to Rick Baker's special effects, which goes to show sometimes, a majority of times to be honest, practical special effects work better than CGI, and CGI ages quite badly very quickly if it's not done right. I mean, you look at Lord of the Rings, no problem with that, still looks perfect. There's a lot of scenes in it you couldn't tell if it was a model or a miniature or CGI, whereas American Werewolf in Paris, you see the special effects and you're like, no, that's not doing it for me. The werewolves in this are terrible. Oh, the other one which I popped in my head as well when I was looking at this question was Wes Craven's 2005 movie Curse, starring Christina Ricci. I've only seen it once, and once was enough. I obviously rate Wes Craven as a director. Christina Ricci, very good actress, and it's got werewolves in it. So, you know, it's going to be a really good film. I think the scene that sticks in my head is a bit where, I don't know whose character it is, but there's a bit where a werewolf's running through a parking lot, and the transmission of the werewolf, and it's terrible CGI, and this is in 2005, and even in 2005 that CGI looked bad. I did hear a rumor or read somewhere that Rick Baker was originally on board to do special effects for Wes Craven's Cursed, but he got pulled out of it for some reason, financial reasons or something, and they didn't end up using his special effects, because apparently he made some special effects, practical special effects to use for the werewolf scenes in Cursed, but sadly they never got used. So I don't know what happened there, but that's the two that I think's got the worst werewolf special effects, and just worst werewolf films altogether, to be honest. Question 6 was, what was your first werewolf film? Go back to it again. It's American Werewolf in London, 1981. Can't remember what age I've seen it in. I definitely know it's one of the first werewolf films that I've seen. Really enjoyed it, and it's still one of my favourite werewolf films of all time. So that was that. And question 7 is, what is your favourite werewolf legend? Historical tales count too. Now, this was quite an interesting one, because I was sort of thinking of it, and I was thinking, oh, what could I kind of ones from a film, or should I look at ones from history? Now, the one that I've read about a few times, and I've written some notes down of it because I read about it a fair few years ago, and it sort of stuck in my head, but I had to get the story straight. So it's called The Saga of the Volsungs. It's a Nordic folklore tale about a father and a son who discover wolf pelts, and they give power to people if you wear them for 10 days. You turn into a wolf for 10 days, and then you got the power of the wolf. The father and son go on a killing spree in a forest, and the rampage ends when the father wounds the son lethally. I think he gets infected or something, but a raven comes along, gives the father a leaf with healing powers, and obviously that must help the son, because that's where the story ends. But it's an interesting sort of folklore tale, legend, story, myth type thing, but it's interesting. I quite liked it. And so yeah, that was all the questions. I will say that other werewolf films you should watch if you haven't seen them are the Hammer film, which is called Curse the Werewolf, which stars Oliver Reed. That's worth watching if you haven't seen it. And of course, any Paul Naschy werewolf movie, just do a quick look on Paul Naschy IMDb, and you'll find loads of his werewolf movies. He did loads of horror films, but he's mostly known for his werewolf transformation films as Waldemar Daninsky, Dadinsky. I presume it's Valdemir Dadinsky. I believe that's how to pronounce it. But really good films. I mean, some of them are a bit cheesy. I mean, there's things like the Werewolf and the Yeti. That's kind of comical, but I think it's good. I quite like his films. But yeah, that was all of the questions from the Werewolf tag that was started by KweenyTodd. As I said, I will leave a link down below for her website, her YouTube channel, and then you can check her out and check out other videos that she's done. These are the people I'm going to tag, and I'll leave links down below as well for all of these. And they are, I'm tagging Morbid Melody, You and Your Horror Movies, Random Horror, Horror in Me, and The Horror. So that's 1, 2, 3, 5 people are tagged in that. So it should be interesting to see. I mean, if they do it, they do it. If they don't, they don't. But it'd be interesting to see what their answers are. As I said, KweenyTodd's and all those people I just mentioned will be tagged in the description box down below. Give this video a thumbs up if you liked it. Of course, comment down below and let me know what your favourite werewolf film is, if you've got a favourite, or what the worst werewolf film is that you've seen. That would be an interesting question to be answered as well. And of course, subscribe if you haven't subscribed already. And I'll see you next video. Thanks for watching. Bye for now.